Everyone, welcome back. Loggerhead Butt Golf Podcast.
Yeah, I think we said Loggerhead Butt Golf.
Bug or something.
There was something. There was an extra. There was
You
an
threw
extra
a B in there.
There was an extra something in there. We all heard it.
I did kind of fumble my words.
I heard a butt.
I did too.
Oh God, this is going to definitely make the blooper reel. Loggerhead Golf Podcast, episode 30. All right, I'm going to do it for real this time.
Take a deep breath, Daryl.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Loggerhead Golf Podcast, episode 38. We got some interesting news this week. Dunlap, we called it. He turned pro. What do you guys think?
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He said it was his decision he ever made.
What are you gonna say now? Wow, jeez.
I just hope my collar's in on this episode.
So they did a full blown press conference at Alabama. So it makes sense why he withdrew from the Farmers, because it sounds like the decision was made probably that night, and it was just like, we got to make sure we do it the right way.
Yeah.
And his press conference was a great press conference. I mean, the most notable quote is the best decision he's ever made in his life was going to Alabama, which duh. Yeah. And
wow.
And then the second easiest, or the easiest decision of his life was turning professional.
I mean, when you're guaranteed starts, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and the nice thing is he didn't explain why, and you could tell they had the right reporters there because no reporter said, why did you do it? I mean, obviously, you're exactly right.
It's pretty clear why you do it. I mean,
you're guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yep.
And especially with golf possibly changing next year, nothing's guaranteed for 2025. At least you're in the rest of the 7 guaranteed elevated events the rest of the season.
Right. I mean, everybody goes to school, and there are certain few that just know that that's as far as they're going to go. But anybody else, especially after he's a junior AM and then a regular AM champ, I mean, he knows where his path is. And for him just to be able to take that step a little bit earlier with a lot more money is it's just too good to pass up.
But the thing about it, let's say he stays in college and plays college golf
one more year,
for 2 more years or 1 more year, whatever it is, and then he loses his exemption from this win.
Well, he will only have
he's not guaranteed anything.
Yeah.
Like if he doesn't play well, he may never make it as a tour player. Right now, he's at least got a chance. He's got 2 years of starts. So
I mean, we all know how hard the path is to get to the PGA Tour now. Just through Q School or trying to play on mini tours and get to that elite level. So if you can skip some steps and go straight there to the show, I mean.
Well, I mean, the PGA Tour, they redefined how to get there. Yeah. So, I mean, it's almost like that's the easiest path these days is to get a sponsors exemption.
They keep moving the goalpost. Yeah.
Because before you go to Q School and you have, 20, 30 guys, that can
there
get
used to be
tour.
20 spots. Now, PGA Tour did come back, and this past year in Q School, they gave out 5 PGA Tour cards. So like Trace Crow, who played good this past week at Farmers, he got into that field because of Q School. Yeah. When in the past, he would have had to stick it out on the Corn Ferry Tour.
He got into that field because nobody else played that tournament.
Well, plus too, I mean, Caleb's right, because you look at the way they line them up, and then you guys, I mean, you come out of Q School and it's like, okay, well, where am I in the form or in the line of everything? And the guys that came out of Q School, they're behind the 10 that came over from the DP World Tour. They're behind the guys that qualified for the Corn Ferry. So you may be a tour member, but you're number 155, 160.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was like at least 4 pros that traveled with their families out to Hawaii that thought they were in the Sony Open field, and they were not. That's how you know, really no one knows what's going on.
Right.
In professional golf, it's tough. You would think that, yes, they try to make it sound clear on the radio about, you go to Corn Ferry Tour, Q School, then you graduate to PGA Tour. It is not that easy because also the reshuffle on the Corn Ferry Tour is even harder.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why ultimately when you do make it, you see a lot of events like the past 3 weeks with fields like they were.
Yeah. I said, but at the bottom line for Nick Dunlap, he's got guaranteed starts and he can make his schedule for 2 years. Yeah. That's the easiest start you're going to get on the PGA Tour. Congrats to him.
I will say he lost out on the 500 points, but at the same time, he's guaranteed points this week.
Yeah, guaranteed.
You're guaranteed money this week. Yeah. And, it's too good of a deal to pass up. I think the reason why he waited to turn pro, skip the Farmers, is because Farmers started on Wednesday. Right. He's still celebrating on Sunday into Monday. He doesn't, agents, equipment deals. I mean, everything's got to come down.
So he had a lot to figure out before that.
He had a lot of money to deposit,
yeah.
Before he teed it up.
Hey, good for him.
Yep.
I mean, we'll see how he does this week at Pebble Beach.
So I hope he plays well.
I was just saying before we got on, I wouldn't doubt if you see him with a big name like Rory or.
It'd be cool to see him paired with some of the bigger names for sure.
I think they will.
Oh,
everything's
I mean,
about
they
TV.
will absolutely.
I think the other part of this too is that I think it's going to change a lot of the Monday qualifiers. Where I think you're going to maybe start seeing a lot more college kids.
Well,
trying to qualify on Monday and see if he can lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. I mean, how many players do we know that are mini tour players that they're not even playing in mini tours this year? They're just playing. They're just playing Monday
qualifiers. Yeah.
Now, granted, you're going to spend $500 after the pre-qualifier if you get, and then it's like $285 for pre-queue. And then another $285 for the actual qualifier.
It's an expensive way to do it. Plus,
it's an expensive way to do it. But the whole point is, if you're hot, you're hot. You might as well take advantage of it instead of spending $1,000 at a mini tour event that you have to finish third to maybe break even.
Yeah, I agree.
Professional golf is tough, and for those of you that said if you could practice every day and make it, no, you wouldn't.
You know what? I'm going to try, Nikki.
No, you're not.
So big news. Tyrrell Hatton.
Watch out.
Yes.
Tyrrell Hatton goes to LIV, and he joins Jon Rahm's team, right?
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Who else is on Rahm's team?
Trick question. Trick question.
And I was thinking about this with Tyrrell Hatton signing, because last week they had DP World Tour Player of the Year, who got a PGA Tour card as well, Adrian Meronk.
All right.
Who was kind of snubbed from the Ryder Cup team. He was been the number one player on the DP World Tour for like the last 3 years. They announced him last week. And then I completely forgot, Lucas Herbert also went over to LIV. Mm-hmm. So there's been how many top 50 players in the world that has moved over to LIV now?
Quite a few. I mean, it's probably close to half.
Well, there's a lot of guys on the PGA Tour that are happy about that too, because their rankings just moved up. Somebody just got into the elevated
for sure.
event
Yeah,
because Tyrrell Hatton dropped out
for sure.
Know? But I think Jon Rahm's got three guys already. Now it's counting Tyrrell. He had one other person,
right?
And I guess obviously,
so I'm just curious to see who they fill out his team with. Like as far as
who did Meronk go to?
On the announcement LIV made, they said the last.
What'd you say?
Where did Meronk go? What team is he on?
The last player to join LIV is Tyrrell Hatton. So that means that Rahm's going to have to pull somebody on his team that's already on LIV.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious who
trying to
that
find
might be.
it.
Don't go on LIV's site, and this is where I'm going to hate on LIV. We're at the same week of a tournament, and your website's not even up to date.
Is there a tournament this week or is it next week?
It's next week.
It's next week.
No, it's at Mayakoba this weekend, guys.
Well,
it's the second through the
They're off a week.
IT is hard. Give them a break.
And then they're off a week, and then they're in Vegas the same week as the Super Bowl.
Right.
Which is going to be insane.
But I mean, they haven't announced his team yet, and at the same time, you got to
Fleetwood on?
No.
You got to create a new team because you have 13 teams. That's just not a good number.
Right.
Someone's going to finish 13th.
Yeah.
Yep. And make that money. But I think, I don't know how many more people, do you think LIV is going to be, once the season starts, we're done? Or do you think there's going to be a little bit more fallout later down the road, like maybe after the Masters, maybe another push, another surge to get a few more people
I don't know. It all
to come
depends,
over?
because how many players do they have on the LIV Golf Tour?
I think in the field this week's 54.
Right, but how many total players do they have?
I think they've got...
I think they're like at 60.
Okay.
Because there is a way to play in the LIV events now.
Right.
I think this week they have 4 players playing that aren't part of a team. They're only playing in the actual individual portion.
Did they set up their qualifiers this year? Like you're almost like a Monday qualifier? Weren't they going to try that?
Yeah, at certain events, not like Mayakoba this week.
I was like, the question I have is just how many spots does LIV have remaining on their tour?
Well, you look at anybody that ran a shotgun tournament before. you know how many people you can get on that golf course. So. Yeah. We're going to double up, the hole. We're going to double up this hole. We're going to squeeze as many people in there as we can.
I still have scars from the Triple T days, Steve.
We can get more. You can always get more.
You can always get one more group in there, right?
Yep.
But
so, Torrey, how do we feel about Torrey last week? I thought it was a weak field.
I was going to say, I think
when you look at the LIV event field this week,
yeah,
and then you relate it to a lot of those players have been known. I mean, how many Jon Rahm's won twice at Torrey, one in a major.
I think
one
the bigger question is how much golf did you watch?
It was a big goose egg for me.
I was watching football. I actually watched it.
Good for you. I didn't watch it.
I tried to watch it. Number one, I forgot that they started on Wednesday.
Right.
You know, and then you realize that Saturday's their final round, and then Friday I'm sitting there going through the channels, the Golf Channel showing the LPGA Tour event. I'm like, well, where's the regular tour at? And it was actually on CBS, you know, in prime time, you know, watching it there Friday night. So, you know, I mean, I watched quite a bit of it. I enjoy watching. I think that golf course is spectacular. You know, for the views. I think it played tough as nails.
Well, the golf course snobs, architect snobs, think it's like the worst golf course in the world. But meanwhile, how many great major championships are hosted like that come down to those final holes?
It's a great golf course.
Like tournament-wise.
Only one major championship to come down to that.
We had a section meeting down there one time.
Rahm had to make a putt.
Yeah,
true.
But
Tiger.
I didn't get to play it. And that's my biggest regret leaving Cali. I didn't get to play that one before I left. So I'll have to make a trip back. Sounds like a golf trip.
Well, it's almost like you want to buy property there so that way you can pay the residence fee of $35 to get on the golf course.
Yeah, they had like a documentary on guys sleeping in their trucks to get a tee time there. It's just unbelievable.
But I mean, I thought the tournament it was amazing to me, you know, to watch it set up to course to play. Actually, like it was. If you missed a fairway, you were penalized. You know, for like the first time in a long time. You know that you actually. I mean, it's like, where's the ball at? I don't know. It's somewhere in this area.
That's kind of the way that course is always set up.
It just sits down there. I think they stopped mowing the rough on Saturday. They said tournament week, and it obviously had a lot of rain. So I mean, it played tough, but the
windy, soft.
I mean, you saw it, the guys missing fairways. I mean, it definitely cost you strokes, you know, and it just, I don't know, that game, watching that was a little bit different for me because it was almost like, you know, players still didn't really take they still took that risk by trying to hit that driver and forcing it down, you know, in distance more than trying to get it back into the fairway, you know, and then I guess sometimes, you know, the guys just don't have it like Hoiberg. I mean,
it just shows you how
Hogard
off the tee. He
did not have it.
He could have blitzed that field.
But it also showed that, and I actually watched probably the last 13 holes. It's probably the first time I've ever seen in a PGA Tour event where they show a guy putting and they had no chance of making it. It was one of the worst putting displays I've ever seen on TV. These guys couldn't make a putt to save their lives until the last hole for Pavin. And now, like when I was watching it, these guys, they don't care where that flag is. They're going at every single flag. That's the one thing I noticed. I mean, what was it, 13 we were talking about, where the leader, he has a 2-shot lead. Everyone else is in trouble. He goes, like, tucked right flag. He cuts the ball, and he sails the green by, like, 10 yards. And you're like, oh, my gosh, that's down in the cliff. Well, somehow, some way, his ball was sitting up perfect, got easy up and down. I mean, everyone equates his final shot on 18, Mateo Pavin, out of the rough and makes that birdie. Pavin. I don't know. It's French. And I look back at, you need good breaks to go your way to win a golf tournament. To play good in any round, you go ask anybody what your best score is. There's one hole where you got a great break.
Oh, yeah.
And
something went your way at some point.
But
it wasn't 17 when he 3-putted with a 2-stroke.
We just had to make it interesting.
Yeah. Christmas. You know, come on now.
Yeah.
God, I hate 3-putting.
But, you know, at the same time, I mean, Torrey's known for that Poana grass. Later in the day, you know, when the leaders are out there, it gets a little bit more unpredictable. You know, and they were kind of soft, you know. And then the shot that really surprised me is I haven't seen that on tour in quite some time was the kid on 18 that laid up. He had the lead at the time. And he threw a wedge in, and that thing spun back at least 20 yards back into the water.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like a long time since you've seen this new ball just kind of react like that.
How do you guys think sponsors how do you think sponsors are going to go forward? Like, if you're the Farmers, like if you guys are running Farmers and you look at that field.
They're done. Farmers is out. They've already announced.
Really?
Yeah, I think next year's their last year, and then they're stepping away.
I mean, that's the one thing I noticed on TV. And the fact that there was some big-name guys there. Xander played decent. Patrick Cantlay didn't play good at all. Max Homa was he didn't do anything. And Tony Finau, I mean, choked on Sunday. I mean,
yeah, but do Schauffele, Cantlay, Homa, and Finau, do they draw in views?
They're technically they are now the new thoroughbreds of the PGA Tour.
I know that, but like,
well, they were all paired together on Thursday and Friday, or Wednesday and Thursday. So yeah, they do, simply for the fact that TV put them there for that reason.
I just don't see, and this might be where, like, and I know I've been hard on elevated events in the past, but like now that I see the other side of it, why wouldn't you just make that a Korn Ferry Tour major or something like that? Like we got to do something different with, and I'm going to say Sony. Sony's always been a smaller field, in a weaker field, because most people play the Century, travel to.
So it's in Hawaii. It's hard to get to.
Hard to get to, but the Amex field and this field, that doesn't seem like a good business model to me.
Well, it depends on who your business model is for. If it's for your bottom half of your players to get them a little bit of points, get them a little money heading in, it's great.
Yeah.
Trust me, those guys that are way down that list, they love the early season.
Yeah.
Right. You know, because they've got to make their hay now. You know, but at the same time though, they're also you have 4 events so far, and I think Pebble's going to be the 5th event.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them were elevated already.
Right.
So you had 3 opportunities. Then you're going to take a week off. Then you're going to come back 1. Then you're going to take another week off when the Genesis comes up. So there is no rhythm for a lot of these guys, especially if you trunk slam.
I was going to say, well, and besides that, if you are just kind of the general golf spectator, like you follow golf a little bit, you like to watch it on TV from time to time, why do you watch golf?
Me personally?
Well, I'm saying no, not you, because we know we like golf. We'll watch it for any reason. But for the average golf spectator, why do they watch golf?
They want to see Jon Rahm play.
They want to see the big names play.
Yeah.
So if you're hosting events where none of those named characters are playing, are you going to get any views? Are you going to tune into that event?
Well, I mean, the
answer is no, you're not going to.
I'm going to disagree slightly with that.
I don't think so.
Simply for the fact that if you actually, in today's world of AI, if you went ahead and took just blur the bodies out from the shots and just watch a tournament play.
You won't know who's
without any faces. Everyone's are just there
really good.
Right, and you're there to watch shots. You know, and
but on TV coverage, you don't get to see any shots.
I get that, but if you just sit back and say, okay, well, you know, are you telling me that Jon Rahm would have won the tournament if he was there, and any of them? Rory would have won it, because obviously some of the guys that are in the top 20 in the rankings, they were nowhere near on the leaderboard on the final day. So you know, it's like there are a lot of guys that are good, and just because certain ones are in the tournament doesn't mean they're going to win.
I'm not saying you're there because you want to watch good golfers or anything like that. You want to watch the big names, the superstars. I mean, that's what the average golf viewer wants to see. They want to see Tiger Woods. They want to see Jon Rahm.
My view is just a little skewed.
They don't care about Tony Finau, unfortunately. I mean, he's a good golfer. He's a great guy, but they don't care about.
And I'm not a fanboy like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I mean, I'm not going to. Yeah, I want to see shots. I want to see players compete under pressure. I want to see the cream rise to the top.
I just want
to restructure TV coverage.
Everything that was thrown in our face the past 2 years was how much better the PGA Tour model was than anything else, and why a World Tour will never work. You can't prove that to me now.
No, that's what I'm saying.
This last week, I mean, it was fantastic. For Matteo Pavon to win the way he did, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I mean, he played his way in and won. Yep. Like, that is what the PGA Tour is about.
Steven Yeager helped him a little bit. You know?
Hogard, he still had to make that 15-footer to win, because he was looking at a playoff.
Yep.
He was looking at a playoff. So, I mean, not going to discredit
him. I applaud Hogard for getting back in position where he was basically written off. You know, with the way he was playing, and then that short birdie putt he missed coming down the stretch, and then now he's got a putt to actually would have been to win it.
It would have been to win it.
Or actually to tie. But he 2-putted birdie. He did what he needed to do.
Yeah. So it'll be an interesting week, because we're going to see what kind of viewership LIV brings in. Now, the reason why we don't know who's on teams is they're doing I just looked up. They're doing a huge announcement today. So
that's good. That's good. But,
so what are you guys doing this year to get ready for tournament season? What do you guys got planned for events?
I'm gonna practice every day so I can make it on tour.
I'm gonna watch Jon Rahm. I'm gonna watch Jon Rahm on TV.
I need to find a new teacher and fitter. Thanks.
I mean, it's almost like, you know, like almost like getting ready for opening day of baseball.
Yeah.
You know, to where you're so excited. Well, here comes the early part of the schedule. You know, now would I like to see a little bit more of the section schedule up by now? Yeah. I don't think
all
that.
The way up now.
No, it's not. There's only one senior event listed, and obviously you guys don't care about that. But some of us older people do.
I care about growing the game.
But you kind of plan out. You know, obviously, if I know the first tournament, I think we're going to go down for the Professionals Championship. The Players Championship down at Berkeley Hall. And it's like now you start thinking about that.
I got a question for you guys right quick. This is just started to cut you off. Did y'all notice that they took away the PGA Tour start for the champion of the Players Championship?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, is Harbour Town an elevated event again?
I don't know, but you don't get a PGA Tour exemption any longer for winning that event. At least
I thought there was one tournament though that you do.
Oh, yeah,
section championship, right. But they've always done it at the Players Championship too.
Yeah, the Players Championship has always gotten a PGA Tour start.
You remember the Carolinas PGA made a deal with the PGA of America 2 or 3 years ago, to where the PGA of America funds the section tournaments a little bit more in order to take away that spot. So you know we basically bartered it away.
Tour professional.
So, you know, they bartered it away a few years ago. I think the second one they did. There's always been that one. But
it just says there will not be a PGA Tour exemption for this year's champion.
Yeah, it's the first year that's
the reason why this always gets a strong field is because the winner gets a start.
Well, I'm not going now.
You're going to boycott?
I'm going to boycott. Nice. Because I needed to know when the first elevated event was after I win that tournament.
I was kind of disappointed
because take my exemption.
To me, and we've talked about it, okay, if Harbour Town is elevated, so you don't get to start into that one.
I don't think it is this year.
I don't think it is either, but what else is happening in North and South Carolina on the PGA Tour schedule this year?
You got the Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
Well, Sedgefield, Myrtle Beach. Like, there's Quahala, but Myrtle Beach was the one I was like, why don't you get a start into that one? Exactly. They're going to be
I agree.
searching for players.
They're going to be. We're going to see players that, I mean, does Angel Cabrera make a comeback? Does a comeback? Did you guys see that this past weekend he played in a tournament in Argentina and won it?
Or Anthony Kim.
Oh, the rumors were swirling, but
AK's trying to make a comeback. That's what I heard.
How many? And this is where you just got to compare it to other sections, right? Like, how many in the Mid-Atlantic section, how many of their tournaments actually qualify for the tour events around there?
I don't know.
And that's the thing. I have a feeling that probably the only section, the only two, is California split into two sections, essentially. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, northern and southern.
I know probably every single one of their majors has an exemption with it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how when people are like, when they saw Michael Block before, like we all knew who he was because he's played in how many tour events that he's qualified for? Yeah. A ton. Yep. So, I mean, there needs to be, it makes no sense to take opportunities away.
Right.
Okay, then here, if you're going to take that exemption away, then go back to making this tournament a 3-day tournament and I will pay more money if the purse is higher. Like, the people will pay more money. So make it a 3-day event, then make it actual, like, tournament amongst ourselves. Because I always looked at the Players' Championship like a 2-day shootout for
a PGA Tour start.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, last one I played in was at Berkeley Hall.
Yeah.
And I played really well. But
that's just my 2 cents worth.
But I think going back to like how we are preparing, I mean, I always look at golf like I should technically be able to, if I wanted to spur of the moment, go play in a tournament, I should be relatively pretty prepared to go and do that. I know myself, I want to make a lot of changes, swing, golf bag, everything this year. Like, and nothing's going to be, for me in my game, I feel like it's been really good the past few years, but I feel like if I want to take it to the next level, changes have to be made. I've been kind of band-aiding things for 2 years and just playing with what I got. That's what I say. And I was honestly, like, last night when we got back from volleyball, like, I saw one thing and I was like, I need to do something different. Because I know with how my release is, what things are, it's almost impossible for me not to hit the ball left. So, I mean, Kayla pointed out something to me on Sunday, and it's a really bad flaw that I was like, if I don't change my entire swing, that flaw ain't changing.
Yeah. I'm the same way. trying to make sure the ball doesn't go left anymore with irons, hit more greens in regulation, changing everything in the bag. One, because I have to. Every year you get the staff deal, and then you're like, okay, got to get a new driver. So now, will that driver work with last year's shaft? Found that out really quickly. It does not. So, and I was actually shocked.
I say it can be hard to change driver.
It is. It is.
Shut up, dude.
You mean day to day, or are you talking like long? What are you talking?
Well, I mean, it took me like
4 months.
Almost 4 years to change out of the TSI.
It wasn't for lack of trying.
I mean, I tried. I tried my best.
Yeah, so then, I mean, for me, it's just getting out. I think we talked about this yesterday, just playing more golf. I have not played much at all this winter. And so just trying to get back into the swing of things, you start to lose some of that touch, that feel around the greens.
I think that's the hardest part, coming into those early tournaments. It's just where we are. But everybody in our sections, that's the way, except maybe down in the south and the coast. The guys in the mountains, they're not doing anything unless they're down.
I was going to say no one's there right now.
But, no one's. And they're not coming back. But what I'm saying is you're kind of strapped in. But when I think tournament prep, I always obviously look at the schedule. I look at the courses I'm playing, and the first thing I do is look at the scorecard and see what the par threes are.
See which hybrid you got to carry.
See, you got to make the bag up somehow. But just kind of see what kind of golf course and just be a little bit more, I think, mentally prepared. Which maybe this year I'll make a turn and be a little bit more physically prepared.
Yeah.
When I play golf versus, but at the same time,
I'm in peak form
any knowledge,
right now,
any knowledge that you can gain about any upcoming event. You're better served. And there's too much technology out there. There's too many resources for you not to take advantage of every metric that's in your game.
I saw something the other day, and it said something like, unless you play in some type of tournament formatted golf, you have no other way of actually measuring your game.
Yeah. I would say for me, the kind of, especially like this first event, like we're going to play in that players event. The hardest thing starting out for a golf season and playing tournament golf, if you haven't played an event in a while, is getting those competitive juices flowing again. Getting back under the gun. I always say it's totally different when you're holding the pencil to paper. When you got to write down a score at the end of the day, that's the hardest thing. It's totally different than just playing a normal round of golf with buddies. So to be quite honest, for me, like the Players' Championship, I look at that as like a prep event. I don't really have any expectation for how I'm going to play in it. I'm going into it just because I want to play a couple of competitive rounds of golf.
Yeah.
And getting that
that's
feel
the best
again.
way. That's the best way of looking at it.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's pretty much how I'm looking at it.
Right. I mean,
Well,
let's be real here.
I always so I've played in 3 of them, and all 3 of them we pretty much had terrible weather. So like my thing is I was going to make sure, number one, the weather doesn't affect me, because if I'm not worried about it, I'm going to be prepared. I'm at least 10 shots better than everybody else.
I mean, March in the Carolinas, you don't know what you're going to get.
No, it's usually winter time still.
Yeah.
We technically had summer last week, but it's I always felt like no matter what, if I set up for a tournament, I've always been more on the lines of, if I don't put expectations on myself, then I go through the motions. I'm more of like a very goal-oriented golfer. Like I kind of want to have a goal of like, when I show up, I don't care how I do it. I want 5 birdies today. And then I'm also one of the best advice I've ever gotten was you play the golf course in 3s. So you look at the layout and you can point out, it's like, okay, for this 3-hole stretch, I want to be between 1 under and 1 over, right? If it's a tougher stretch, if I just keep that stretch that around 3, it just kind of kept me in it, right? So even if I don't, I know my game's technically still winterized, you can still, that's probably how I set expectations a little bit.
Yeah, I would say, when I say I don't set expectations, I mean, I don't go into the event expecting to win.
Oh, well, yeah.
Right, or expecting to do it. That's not necessarily what I'm there for.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't get me wrong, I want to win. Right, yeah, I want to play the best I can play.
I don't think anybody should expect to win.
Exactly. That doesn't
Winning
determine whether I've had a
guaranteed.
successful event or not. Now, setting expectations, I do go into each tournament round. I never have been one to put any kind of numbers on expectations.
Yeah.
So I never wanted to think about, I want to make this many birdies, or I want to shoot this score for the day. Because I've always felt like if I put my goal at 5 birdies, then I've just told myself it's not possible to make 6. So I've set an expectation.
You don't like closing things off.
Right. Gotcha. So for me, it's more of I want to play each shot completely committed to the goal I'm trying to achieve for that shot. Yeah. And it's hard to do. It's
exhausting.
Hard to play around a golf where you are 100% committed to your process on every single shot.
I would agree with that. So one of the things that I do in a practice round is I take notes, what side of the fairway I want to be on, to approach certain type of flag. And if there's anything crazy around the green or there's a ridge at the green, certain landmarks when I'm off the tee, how far. And then whenever I go into a tournament round, I'm just trying to hit my windows. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of picking target lines that I picked in the practice round, and I'm just trying to hit those target rounds. And I think a successful round for me is when I put myself in position, I'm able to attack the golf course. And when I'm out of position, I'm playing it safe, so to speak.
Right.
I'm hitting middle of the green at that point.
You're way more precise than me. If you're playing to certain sides of fairways,
well,
what's a fairway?
I'm just trying to hit the damn thing. Like for me, practice rounds off the tees, I'm just looking for start lines. I want to I like to find a target to start to aim at and a target for the ball to finish.
Have you guys ever played there? Well, I know you played it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you just recently.
I've only played the one.
You're not going to have. Did you play the?
I think it's the
North course.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's on.
That's where it's going to be.
That's its championship.
It's really good.
It's you're not going to have a problem. You're not going to have a problem with start lines because they do something very similar to a bald head. There's a lot of distinct palm trees.
Yeah, perfect.
It's around the greens. So it's gonna.
Yes, yeah. It's a second shot golf course. It's pretty forgiving off the tee.
Yeah,
but.
Well, Caleb, what do you think, though, that you're going down there, and I know your expectations, what you talked about, what are you going to use after that tournament from this one to your next one?
What am I going to do between that?
Well, if you're using this as kind of like a I'd say a warm-up type, is there any sort of metrics that you're looking at? Is there any sort of, or are you just more of a feel type?
Are you making sure your bag is right?
Right. I would like to get more into actually using stats to try to track some of that stuff. However, I've just always been more feel. I mean, I'll use the example of, last season, I qualified for the professional or the National Assistants Championship in Florida. And went down there and played. I mean, we had crappy weather, but weather aside, honestly, hit the ball really good, but played like shit. That's there's no nice way to put it, right? Played bad. What did I do when I got back? It might have been you. What was the first thing I said? I said, I got to make more putts. I got to figure out some way for the ball to get into the hole more often because I hit the ball too well to shoot the scores that I shot. So then what did I start working on after that? Putting.
It's your ball striking.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, it's going to be your damn putting. I got to make more putts.
Hit it closer.
That don't always work.
I know.
That don't always work.
I know.
Because I missed those short ones too,
I
know. So that's kind of how I've always been like. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm trying to do, Daryl.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying this year. Like
throwing darts at me here.
That's what I'm saying. This year there is no stone left unturned.
But I would say I've always kind of after an event, how I feel mentally about myself and how I performed is always based around. Realistically, it doesn't even matter about scores. How did I feel about going through my process for the round of golf? I know I had a couple of rounds or a couple of events last year where, and like one of my personal goals for this year is I want to play a complete golf event. Yeah. I want to play a full tournament. Because last year, if you look at the events I played in, I had maybe a bad starting round and then played a really good round to finish it up. Mm-hmm. Or I played a really good opening round and then played bad to finish it up. I never put the whole event together. So my goal is to put the whole event together. But that being said, if I feel like I've gone through my process for the whole round of golf, whether I shot 66 or 76, if I went through my process for the entire round of golf, I'm satisfied with that round. I shot probably the best I could have shot.
Well, I think too many people coming out of a tournament, they focus on what they did wrong. Right. They focus on the bad things instead of accentuating what did I do really well. Well, keep pushing forward with that, and don't let that go backwards and become average. Yeah. Because you're trying to do something. My bunker game from 140 was bad. Well, how many times are you going to hit that? You're not supposed to. So
there's a reason why it used to be.
But to be honest, and don't be afraid to change. I mean,
I agree.
I've always. If you look at last year again, a section championship. At Wachisaw Plantation, played a good first round, and then played 2 bad rounds the second rounds. Quite honestly, in the first round where I played really well, there was a scary feeling with the driver. At any moment I knew it was going to go haywire. And then on the first tee of the second round, damn if it shorted, And so for 2 rounds after that, it was just kind of fighting the driver. So that's when I started working on driver after that.
This is where I would say this probably goes for all 3 of us, because my biggest thing is right now, if I played 3 days in a row, I feel terrible. I feel terrible.
Well, I didn't feel bad that event. It wasn't that.
Yeah. I mean,
actually felt pretty good for that one.
Well, we talked about it. We talked about it kind of in the off season, how there is you might have heard golfers say, "Oh, I didn't work out," like Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer. They didn't say you bull crap.
Yeah, they were.
They were still conditioned, and I think that's a thing. You got to be conditioned to play tournament golf, because the amount of mental fatigue that is going to come from it. I mean, that's almost everything.
You have to be ready to mentally give 110% the entire time, and it's hard to do for 3 straight days. But.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than
a lot of energy goes into it.
It's no different than when any one of us were running tournaments at our clubs. The club championship was never, the same score that the same guy shot the last Saturday. Tournament golf is just different, and how you prepare for it. There's so many different things you can do now.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it be, like you said, Nicky, physical or mental, just being prepared for it, and then use the resources available to you after the round of golf to get better for the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big emphasis on me to kind of change my swing this year was that I had to lose weight because I couldn't physically get into
the positions
that I was trying to. I'm trying to move the path left through impact, and
I'll give you some.
Okay, well, the roundness of my shape was not be able to do that. So 36 pounds down.
That's good. Nice.
Good
for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're we still got a few more to go.
We're playing tournament golf this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and that's the other thing too. It's just
what are you guys' goals for your tournaments this year?
My goal is to put myself in contention to win. Like the expectation of how much I've actually put into my game versus what I've been focusing on health-wise. Like realistically, I'm not playing a whole lot, but I just want to be able to, the last day of any tournament that we play in,
feel like you're in the fire.
I feel like I'm in the mix.
Yeah.
And I think cashing out every event would also be another goal.
That'd be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think for me personally, I think it's just I want consistency.
How do you define consistency?
Is
that consistency in finish or
no? I think it's consistency in process.
Okay.
I want to make sure that I give myself the opportunity to be prepared for when I step on property, for the practice round and for day one. And then I just want to make sure that I manage my expectations, out on the golf course, and just every shot is the most important shot. Where sometimes I get to thinking about, like 3 holes ahead, or if I didn't make that. Yep. And realistically, I think for me, it's just I want to get better for the end of the season. So I want to play well now, but I want to prepare, and then I want to use the metrics that are available to me after rounds to get better.
This is what I want to know, since you said one of your goals is to stay in a moment, not get ahead of yourself. And since you're a stats guy, like metrics and everything, how are you going to measure that, if you did that or not? Because obviously that's a mental thing.
It is. When you go back and you do like a mental scorecard.
Okay.
You want to make sure that, and a lot of time it's self-reflecting after the round of golf.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have to be honest with yourself. Where was my head at when I pulled the club back? And you have to rate 1 through 5. 5 being I was there. you know, and one is I wasn't there. Mentally, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if you can have an honest conversation with yourself, don't answer yourself. Just have that conversation with yourself.
It gets weird.
Yeah.
You know, and just say, you know what, I wasn't thinking, you know, that I let something creep into my mind and I should have backed off the shot and I didn't.
I think you made a good point there that a lot of people forget or maybe don't think about, but self-reflection. Like if you're going to play tournament, like competitive golf, and realistically, if you're going to play golf at all and you want to try to improve.
If you're putting expectations on what you should shoot, that's tournament related.
Self-reflection is pretty important. You've got to be able to, number one, accept the result that you had, and then number two, reflect on what you need to do to change it. Mm-hmm. You know, so reflection is important.
Yeah. I mean, my goals this year, and I'm not a resolution guy, but I did put goals down at the beginning of the year. My biggest thing was goal number one was never going to a tournament unprepared. It's like I essentially said when I get into tournaments, I'm practicing at least 7 hours a week. I've kind of gone through the motions the last 2 years of I know what I got. I don't need to practice that much, and it has led to good results. But I think if I want to make the good results even better, I have to practice. So I said practice at least 7 hours a week in tournament season. And then as far as the goals for the tournament, I'm not going to be very specific. I'm going to kind of use that first tournament as a benchmark to see where it is. I'm going to use strokes gained this year. I want to make sure, you know, strokes gained. I'm not losing strokes tee to green, and I want to also make sure that I'm not losing strokes iron play. I think short game and putting with practice, that I don't have to worry about that. But I think where I lose strokes is that second shot. And that's ultimately what I'm going to, you know, that's probably my only goal this year is to make sure that tee to green, no one can beat me. I mean, that's just what it comes down to.
I wake up and
No.
I think
like I can't beat myself.
Correct.
Is probably what I should say.
Right.
Because you only control your golf shot. I'm sorry, there's no other influence that made that golf shot suck.
Well, the other thing too is you can only control your score.
Yeah.
You can't control if
I
Darrell
get
goes
beat,
out and lights fire.
Yeah, I
It's
can't.
just-
Yeah.
I mean, I can. If I'm satisfied with my round of golf and I know that I put everything into it and I can pick up here and there maybe 1.5 strokes or something like that. It doesn't matter that, you know, I lost the tournament. You know, it doesn't matter that if somebody flat out beats you. Correct.
I was going to say, for me, my goals, and I'm obviously, like, I really want to win one of our section major events. Like, that's what I want to do. Yeah. But I'm not going to say that's a goal because, like I say, let's say I go out there and play great, and somebody just plays better. It happens.
Yep.
But now my specific goals, like I said, I want to play a golf tournament where I play every round well. And then my specific goal, because I think you got to have some specific ones for like the section championship. I want to qualify for the professional national championship. I feel like the last 2 years I've let the PNC. I feel like the last 2 years I've let two good opportunities slide to do that. So the section championship's kind of got me a little pissed off.
Well, it's a good year to do it.
Yeah,
it's in our hometown.
We got a home field advantage a little bit, so I want to try to take advantage of that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Short course.
I play that course
the
well.
older guys.
Yeah, PNC's my target.
Until you have to hit that tee shot on number 2.
What are you talking about?
It's way back in that tee ball can be way back in the trees.
I got hybrids in my bag.
Put it back in 9 fairway. I don't care.
You can go you're gonna go full Tommy Fleetwood, driver, 3-wood, 7-wood, 9-wood, 4 through pitch, 52, 60, and putter.
He might.
Hey.
Heck yeah.
I like it.
What if he goes Mickelson of 04 Masters where he goes 2 drivers?
Respect it.
Or go Mickelson of 07
like
Torrey Pines and go 2-3 woods.
That sounds like you right there again. 2 drivers in there.
Miles, what you got for this week?
Show and tell.
Done talking about ourselves.
It's got a Jordan sneaker feel.
Cody James putters.
No, I like it.
Yeah, that's a really cool putter.
Anything custom like this where it's outside the box, I just love individuality and the customization part and the artistic side of it too. You know, someone had to figure out how to do this, you know, with the CNC machine.
Yeah, so a lot of machine work.
Yeah. So
the lines are clean. I mean, that looks good. I like it.
Birdie.
I saw a picture of this putter from the top line for somebody that's I've always putted with Newport 2s until recently. To get the proportions correct on this shape of putter is really hard to do, and this one from Address looks really good. So I'm gonna give it a flush because he got the proportions correct.
The Graysons. The Grayson Miras.
Well, I like the Tar Heel Blue paint feel. Wolf's cool. A laser etch job there.
Whoever uses 502s, I'm kidding.
Sorry, Miles.
I mean, it's just, I'm sorry. I love Mura. I think they make a beautiful product. It's hard to beat the feel. I think it's a flush.
Okay.
I'm going to say flush.
Flush.
I applaud them, too, for making the left-handed version.
Wow.
Usually you don't see that these days. But I think it's a flush. Anything Mura does, flush.
In the picture, they're left-handed. Reflection or not. All right, Nikki, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, flush. Yeah.
Flush?
Yeah.
I say Muras. I love the Muras. They make really good irons. Grayson's cool. They make some good, cool apparel. I think the Wolf logos are cool, but it's a shank. It's Wolf, so it got to be red, not Tar Heel Blue. God, guys, come on.
NC State boy over here.
How you guys are?
Next.
Yeah, I'm a little biased here. Flush.
This looks like a set of clubs to someone that just blast reggae in his car.
Boat, car.
Ringtone.
Ringtone.
I give it a flush.
Yeah. No, nice job, DJ.
Are you going to play them?
In a non-tournament round?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, why not? Try it out, right?
Yeah.
See what? There's a lot of fish in the sea, right?
No, I think the build turned out great.
Yeah.
Clean. Yeah. I mean, so it's a flush.
Yeah, thanks, Fuji, for the shaft hookup. Yeah, it's and the Ionic grips really kind of set that off, too.
It's weird the one grip has got the
the grand. Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to knock it down from flush to birdie just because.
I hate that club. Why? The grip.
Yeah.
Nikki, I'm surprised that. Now, how do you feel about Ionic grips? You've made every other grip manufacturer mad.
Well, I've only done 2. Okay, so, all right. I actually like the way the Ionics feel.
Okay, all right, nice.
Hey, there's positive vibes over here today.
Yeah, shout out to Mizuno, too. Beautiful set of golf clubs here.
Yeah, limited edition black, right?
Yeah.
It's the ugliest damn thing I've ever seen.
Really? I figured you would love this.
No.
You like that? Is this not Jordan's?
Is that California Sensimilla?
Those are actually Nike Dunks. Okay. And I mean,
my question
I think that would be cool in the office.
My question, are these Bermuda or big grass?
I think they're California's, what's it called? Caddyshack flubbed it. Sensimilla? Play 18 holes and they go.
I think I would definitely have those in my office for sure.
Oh, okay.
You would never find them on my feet.
I know one
Is that
player.
bent grass on there?
That's why I was just asking.
I think there's probably only like one place.
Do they come with care instructions? Like how often you got to mow them? What about water? Do we got to aerify these at any point? Do you
I think there's only one place.
Make sure your foot's not in the shoe when you.
I know those had to be handmade, so kudos to whoever made them.
The only place I'd wear those is walking around Augusta National.
You'd blend in, man.
Yeah,
you'd blend in.
Wow,
it'd be the longest turf there.
I would say wall art. It's a flush. If you're wearing it, dude, you're trying too hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. It's a novelty shoe. It's not something I'd play golf in. I respect the artistic,
the craftsmanship,
craftsmanship and creativity.
Yeah,
I can admire that, but yeah, I would not be caught dead on the golf course in that.
Wow.
I'm gonna say flush, simply for the fact that there is a huge demographic for that shoe, and I think for that person, they nailed it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's why Nike. Probably to the actual consumer, it's not the number one shoe on tour, but it is probably the number one consumer golf shoe. It's just because how many different limited releases they're doing. I mean, every time they're coming out, I'm trying to get one. So they're doing their job.
I give it a par.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because I don't think it's real grass.
They might have put. They should have done a green shoelace.
If it was real grass, I think it'd be a flush.
They should do it like a chia pet.
I'm pretty sure it's artificial.
Oh man! All right. Well, thanks guys for tuning in. Stay tuned next week for episode 39. We appreciate everybody. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and follow our page. Hit those push bell notifications, and we'll check you out next week.